Hello and welcome to my video. This video is titled The 5 Basic Things You Need to Know About Styles on the Yamaha E463 Keyboard. The E463 keyboard has 235 built-in styles, and they all have 5 things in common. This video will explain the 5 basic things you need to know about styles. Thing number 1. Every style has 2 variations labeled A and B, and you can switch back and forth between them as you play. Use the main/auto-fill button to switch between the 2 variations, and it's right here. So every time you tap it, you will switch back and forth between variation A and variation B. Your E463 screen will tell you which variation of a style is currently playing. Here, for example, we are playing variation A. In this screen, we are playing variation B, and one of these messages will always be on your screen as you are playing a style, so you will always know at a quick glance which variation is currently playing. Now, variation A is the simpler of the two, and it's quieter, and sometimes it has less instruments playing. Variation B is always going to be more complex, more dramatic, probably louder, and sometimes it has more instruments playing. Thing number 2. Every style has a musical introduction. Press the intro/ending button to play the introduction. Now, your keyboard is smart enough to know whether or not to play the intro or the ending. If you are just sitting there not doing anything and you've selected your style and you press this intro ending button, it's going to automatically start playing the introduction the minute you press one of the keys in the style. It's smart enough to know whether or not to play an intro or an ending. Each style has a single introduction, but that introduction can lead directly into either style variation A or style variation B. Let me draw you a little diagram that explains this. So every style has one and only one musical introduction. When you start, you get to decide what happens when the introduction is done. Does it start playing variation A, or does it go right into variation B? You get to decide what happens once the introduction is done. And I'm going to suggest and tell you, most musicians in the world will always choose A. And why is that? Because in a song, we want to start off maybe slow and quiet and simple, and then build the excitement as the song goes along. So one way to do that is start the song with variation A, which is always going to be simpler, quieter, calmer than variation B. And then halfway through the song, switch from A to B. and the song will usually be louder. I should say the style will be louder and more dramatic and build more excitement. So how to select where the introduction leads into? First, you press the intro ending button, and it will just sit there waiting for you to press one of the keys. And then second, you will press the main auto-fill button to select either variation A or B as the destination for the intro. So you press the intro button, and then you press this button, the manual auto-fill, and that will toggle back and forth between variation A and variation B. So that's how you decide, or I should say, that's how you tell your keyboard where to go once the introduction is done. You'll use this key right here. And it looks like this when you're going to go from the introduction to the variation A. And I'll show you what it looks like. So we're going into introduction and into A. And now we'll switch. Click. And now we go from the introduction into variation B. Let's switch again. Click. Now we're back to A. When the introduction is done, the keyboard starts playing style variation A. So you can sit here and switch back and forth between A and B till you decide where you want to go. Thing number 3. Every style has a single ending. And to play the ending, you're going to press the intro/ending button. So let's say you've been playing a song for 3 or 4 minutes and now it's time to wrap it up and stop. You will simply reach out and tap this button. Your keyboard is smart enough to know that since you have been playing, when you press this button, it says, oh, he wants to play an ending. So once again, you don't have to decide whether this is an intro or an ending. Your keyboard will know what to do when you press this button because it does 2 things. It starts the intro, but it also starts the ending. But you don't have to worry about that. Your keyboard knows what to do when you press this. Now, some of the endings are simple, and the song will end in 2 or 3 seconds. Some of the endings are much longer, and it may take 5, 10, 12, up to 15 seconds while the ending plays. But this is probably how you want to end your songs rather than just abruptly stopping. That sounds kind of dumb, unprofessional. So I highly recommend use the ending button to end your songs. Once again, your keyboard is smart enough to know whether to play an introduction or to play the ending when you press this button. Thing number 4. You can change the tempo and change the key of any style at any time. You're going to press the transpose button to change the key, to raise or lower the key of the entire keyboard. And you will press the tempo button to change the tempo of the style and the song that you're playing. Now you can transpose the keyboard up or down 12 steps, and that happens to be 1 octave. So you can raise the whole keyboard 1 full octave, 1 key at a time, or you can go the other way and lower the entire keyboard 1 note at a time. The tempo goes from 1 to 280, and I can pretty much guarantee there's never going to be a song that you use 280 beats per minute. And by the way, you will use the rotary dial to change the transpose and also change the tempo once you press the key. Most of the songs you and I play are going to be somewhere between 90 beats per minute, and if you're playing rock and roll, that's going to be 120, 130 beats a minute. A very slow song would be 70 beats a minute. And a real fast tempo calypso or Latin kind of a song might be 150, 160 beats a minute. Now, the good news is you really don't have to worry about this. Every style has its own tempo already set. Let's think about this. Yamaha is the biggest musical instrument producer in the world. Nobody makes more musical instruments than Yamaha. So they know a lot about music. And in the factory, when they built the E463 keyboard, and when they were designing and programming all 235 of those styles, they decided what was the best tempo for each one of the styles, and that is built in. So when you and I call up a style, it automatically sets the tempo at what the Yamaha music engineers thought was the best tempo for that style. So the truth is, most of us never mess with the tempo. I am usually perfectly content to just leave it alone. But now you know you can change it if you want. Why would you transpose? I'll give you a classical reason. I play everything in the key of C. But let's say I want to sing a song, but the key of C is too high. I can't hit the notes. What I could do is transpose down 3 or 4 keys. So my fingers are playing in the key of C, but what you hear coming out of the speakers is the key of A or key of F or G. I can lower the entire keyboard even though I keep playing everything in the key of C. And this is what I have done thousands of times over the last 20 years. I transpose so that I can play and sing in the best key. Thing number 5. Each style is composed of up to 6 tracks or 6 instruments. And you can turn on and turn off any track or multiple tracks at any time. So what you do is you press the style button first to call up your style. And then when you look at the screen, you see these numbers over here. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This tells me of the 6 possible tracks, this style is using 5 of them. And when they're lit up like this, that tells you that the track is turned on. So in this case, track 6 has been eliminated. There is no instrument, no sound in track 6. Now, how do you turn on and turn off the tracks? Simple. You use the track control section, and this is right below your screen, between your screen and your keys. Now, when you press the style button, you should see this little light turn on, indicating that you have selected styles. So now these 6 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are controlling the tracks in the style. If you press the groove creator, this light would turn on, and that's a whole different topic. So when you press style, now these buttons are controlling the instruments in your style. And track number 1 will always be drums. And track number 2 will always be some kind of a bass or an electric bass guitar. That's a given. Tracks 3, 4, 5, and 6, who knows what they could be? They could be pianos, organs, flutes, trumpets, saxophones, violins. They can be lots of things. But as a given, track 1 is always the drums, and track 2 is always the bass. And I'm going to be making a video next week that really shows how and why would I want to go in and turn off any of these tracks. That's for a later video. But at least you know now this is how you do it. And by the way, most of the styles of the 235, the vast majority are either 5 tracks or 6 tracks. There are a few that have 4, a very few that have 3, and only 1 or 2 styles have 2 tracks. Almost unheard of. Even 3. I think there's only 3 or 4 styles out of 235 that only have 3 tracks. So here we're looking at a style that has just 3 tracks. Track 1, track 3, and track 5. So 2, 4, and 6 are turned off. 1, 3, and 5 are turned on. So let's listen to some introductions, some variations, and some endings. So here I am at the E463 keyboard, and what I'm going to do is I've chosen 5 styles, and I'm going to go through the intro and the variations and the ending. Before I even begin, I need to do something to set up my keyboard. I want to turn on the optimum panel settings. If you don't know what that is, I have done an entire YouTube that explains optimum panel settings. But watch, I'm going to do it. I'm pressing the voice key. And then on the numeric pad, I'm going to punch in 0, 0, 0. Ready? 0, 0, 0. And on my screen it says 0, 0, 0. Now, there are 758 voices built into the keyboard, and they go from number 1 up to 758. But there is no voice listed as 0, 0, 0. When I punched that in, I turned on the optimum panel settings, and this is what it does. From now on, every time I choose a style, it is going to automatically set the tempo for that style. The people at Yamaha decided what tempo is best for every one of the 235 styles. The other thing that it does is when I choose a style, it is going to automatically select the voice in my right hand. Once again, the Yamaha music people that built this keyboard, they decided that for every one of the 235 styles, there is a preferred voice, a preferred instrument in my right hand, and that is automatically set up. Okay? So the tempo and the voice in my right hands are automatically set from now on for the rest of this as I set and go through these 5 styles. So this is what I'm going to do. On each one of those 5 styles, I'm going to, as soon as I call it up, I'm going to look at the tempo to see what the tempo is, because that will be automatically set. Then I'm going to look and see what voice has been selected for each of the 5 styles that I'm choosing. Then what I'll do is I'm going to set up introduction and have it automatically go into variation A. And remember, variation A is the simpler, the quieter, the less instruments of the 2 variations, A and B. And so the intro will start playing, and then it will go right into variation A, and I will play a little bit of something. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to play any songs you've ever heard. This is what you would call improv. I am going to literally make these songs up in my head. I have not practiced this. I have no idea what I'm about to play. This is one of the fun reasons I bought a keyboard, was to do things like this, just create a song out of nowhere. So I'll play variation A, and then I will switch and start playing variation B of the style, and I'll play a little bit. Then I'll go back to variation A, so you can hear the difference in the two variations. And then I will press the ending button, and we will listen to the ending of that style, okay? And I will do all of that for all 5 of the styles, and I'll tell you what the styles are as we begin. Okay, so I've set up the optimum panel settings. That's turned on. I'm pressing the style button, and my first style is 034, 034, and this is called Glam Piano, Glamorous Piano. So it's a big piano piece. All right, now I'm pressing the intro, and on my screen it says intro, and there's an arrow A, intro A. So the intro will play, and then it will automatically go into variation A on the keyboard. And I'll play a little something, then I'll switch to variation B, play a little something, go back to variation A, and then hit the ending. And I will tell you as I'm pressing each of the buttons, okay? So ready to go, Glamorous Piano, style 034, introduction, leading into variation A. Here we go. Whoops. Big intro. Big intro. Variation A. Soft, quiet. Variation B. Variation A. Ending. Wow, that is a big ending, folks. That probably took about 15 seconds. Okay, that is style 034, Glam Piano. Okay, let me change the style. So style 162. Style 162, and it's called Celtic Dance. If you've ever seen Riverdance, this is going to remind you of Riverdance. And if you don't know what Riverdance is, in YouTube, go search for Riverdance. It's the most amazing Irish dancing you have ever seen. All right, so let's set up. First of all, let's see what the tempo is. The tempo is 119. That was automatically set. Let's see what the voice was. it has set up a violin in my right hand. So that was done automatically. Okay. I have the introduction going into variation A. Okay. So here we go. Violin in my right hand. And I'm going to transpose just so it sounds a little different. Okay. Here we go. Variation A. Variation B. Ending. Celtic Dance, style 162. Okay, next is style 090, and it's called BB Medium. BB stands for Big Band. So this is going to be a 1940s big band style. So let's see. It has set the tempo at 130 beats per minute. That's pretty fast. And the voice is a sweet trumpet. Okay, and that was automatically set. So let's set it up. I've pressed the intro button and I'm going from the introduction into variation A. I'll always go to A. That's the simpler of the two, of A and B. Okay, so here we go. Big band medium. Variation A. Variation B. Variation A. Ending. Okay, big band medium, style 090. Okay, change of pace, next, style 106. 106, and it's called Soul. Okay, let's see. It has set the tempo at 116 beats per minute. And for the voice, over in my right hand, it is selected a tenor sax. Okay, so I'm hitting the intro button and it says intro A, so the intro will play and then automatically start playing variation A. Okay, Soul. Variation A. Variation B. Variation A. The ending. Okay, that is style 106, Soul. All right, the next one is style 117. 117. Now, interestingly enough, there are only, of the 235 styles, there are only 3 or 4 that are what I would call religious or church music, and this is one of them. Style 117 is called Worship ACS, WRSP ACS 1, and that stands for Worship Acoustic. So imagine that we're in some small country church somewhere, and there's a little praise band, and they have a lead guitar, a rhythm guitar, and a bass guitar. So in variation A, all we're going to hear are 3 instruments. This is one of the very rare styles out of the 235. This is one of the very few that only has 3 instruments in the style in variation A. Now, when I switch to B, then there's going to be 6 instruments. But in variation A, there's only 3. It's very simple. So let's see. The tempo is 125, pretty fast. And in my right hand, the style has selected let me get it again, okay, a clean guitar. Okay. So this is kind of a guitar quartet. And I'm pressing the intro button, and it says intro, arrow A. So the intro will play, and then it will go into variation A, and I'll make up a little something. I'll switch to variation B, play a little something, go back to A, and then we'll end it. Okay? So here we go. Worship Acoustic. Going to make up something. No idea what's coming, folks. style 117. So, now you've heard it. Every style has an intro, every style has two variations, and every style has an ending. And when you set up the optimum panel settings, which is song 000, and you choose a style, the tempo is automatically set. Your right hand voice is automatically set based upon what style, which of the 235 styles you choose. Okay? So these are the five basic things I think everybody ought to know right up front when you first buy an E463 and you're thumbing through the manual trying to figure out how this darn thing works. I hope you have found this helpful, and if you have, go make some music.